Today is Wednesday, May 1st, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 46, Week 10.
This episode was titled Run the Red Light. That was spoken by Maria. Previously on Survivor, Kenzie turns on Tiff. Tiff says she'll play an idol. Hunter says he'll play an idol. Hunter gets voted out because he doesn't play an idol. Number 2, leaving with an idol in his pocket. Might there be 3? NuiNui Night 17. Venus claims another karma kill. Liz is a tad bit tiffed because she's she's out of the loop.
Yeah, she didn't know anything about the split vote, and
you were right.
I was right.
They actually contemplated and executed a split vote. I was not giving them credit for that.
Yeah.
I thought it was more a coincidence of the dum-dums, but
he thought I was the dum-dum for thinking that.
No. I just didn't think that they were working at that level, but it turns out they were.
It just seemed like it was to me. That's why I said that.
Well, we got confirmation that they had intentionally split the vote on Q and Hunter.
Good on Liz, though. She confronted him, said, why? I just want to know why. She didn't show anger toward them or anything like that. She just wanted to understand. And I don't know how well they answered that. Well, it was a last-minute decision. Oh, and yet everyone else had time to find out. Just not me.
Right. And what did she do? What it is about me that caused this to happen?
Yeah.
She blamed herself. Oh.
Well, I don't think she was blaming herself. She just was,
what is it about
them,
me?
Is there something about me that you guys keep leaving me out? It's like, yes, you're not in their alliance.
Stop making us not trust you.
Yeah. And they still don't know for sure if Hunter had an idol.
Right. Ben said, well, if he had one, he sure should have played it.
Yes, he should have. But they all did a good job,
Yeah. I like what's become the Q smoke screen.
Yes.
Tiffany declares that the smoke screen got another victim. It got Hunter.
And Tiff tells Kenzie Q would have to reach out, that she's just really tired of the chaos and it's time for him to go.
Yes, he flew too close to the sun. Nice Icarus reference there. And who's reaching out to Q, though? Since he's been neglected, here goes Maria again, checking in.
Certainly got her a nice meal.
How's he doing? And she sees him as an opportunity, so she's reading it tactically correctly.
But at least he knew that, hey, if I don't win immunities, I'm gone.
Yes.
So, I'm going to try to win immunities, and if I go home, I go home.
The big test for the Division I athlete, can he actually win any of the individual immunities?
And Q said, I'm not out, even though it looks that way. I'm not out.
This is one of those things where it's got nothing to do with you or what you're doing. It's other people making those choices. When you take credit for it, you're going off the rails, going way above and beyond. Well, Maria says he's a good person. She's going to keep him around because there are bigger targets to be had, and it may be time to focus on someone else.
Well, like she wasn't already.
Yeah, speaking of which, it's the morning, and Charlie has talked about how important those early morning talks are, and we see Kenzie, Maria, and Charlie down on the beach at sunrise chatting, and Kenzie says, well, she felt good with the result yesterday, with the Hunter vote out.
And Maria tells Kenzie that Q is with us. He said so.
Yep, said, use me and my number. And she's checking in to see if Tiff's still on Kenzie's radar.
Well, but Kenzie said she needed to get Tiff out first before she gets me. And then she kind of flip-flopped later on. That's where I expected her to go, but
Yeah, she's seeing things the way we're seeing things. She said that they have played the same game, and she's got to do something to differentiate, and one of them's going to get the other, and she just wants to be first.
They are all looking at the end game and, trying to build resumes and make big moves. And, I don't think there's anybody other than, I could see that Liz could just walk away. I don't think that she will, but if she got upset enough, she might just walk away, go home.
You say quit? Is that?
Yeah.
She did have a quitter kind of vibe to her.
She did for a little bit, but then she pulled it back.
Okay, it's a 2-day episode, 2-day game cycle. Day 18, day 19. We're kicking it off with a reward challenge here on day 18. And Tiff's jaw drops because it's a giant course they're going to have to work through.
And Jeff says, wow, you all look noticeably smaller.
Yeah, your clothes got bigger.
And I hadn't paid it too much attention until on the next dawn, I think it was, that there was a clip of Tim when he turns around. It's like,
Ben.
whoa. Ben.
Yeah, he's looking a little gaunt when he's walking down that trail.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, and Charlie tells Probst that every time he stands up, he's got to pause because he feels faint now.
And then I thought they didn't show any response or anything. Jeff just went into explaining the biggest reward of the season and blah, blah, and he just moved on. I don't think he even commented, did he, when Charlie said that?
No, he went on to describe what he was going to have to do physically to get through the challenge.
I was like, okay, well.
So they've got to go over obstacles, under obstacles. They got to retrieve sandbags and then work them through a big tunnel, a whole bag of sandbags. They got to work through a net tunnel.
Yeah.
And then they got to land the sandbag up on a high pole to win the challenge, which is Applebee's reward.
Boy, did he pump them up or what?
He did a fabulous Applebee's commercial, yes.
Yes, he did. And, pictures of it and the listing everything they were going to have. It's like, geez, it made me hungry, and I wasn't hungry. But, wow.
It certainly resonated with Liz, so we got to hear her whole attachment to Applebee's.
Yeah.
And she described the Survivor sleepover.
And Venus was much more impressed with the rum cocktail. You could tell that she knew of those.
Liz said that even though she's allergic, she may have to have some of that Oreo cookie milkshake.
Yep. Well, we didn't know that Tiff was lactose intolerant until she mentioned it when they got back. That, anyway, we'll cover that when we get there. You're frowning. You didn't know where I went with it, but okay. All right, the challenge gets started, and boy, Q went out front quickly.
Yeah.
As fast as I've ever seen him move, I believe.
Yeah, definitely food motivated.
Yeah, and at first there was nobody near him.
Right.
And then Tiffany started, picking up a little bit, catching up to him. But Q ends up getting through first. And he actually had a little bit of time before Tiffany got there.
Not too long. She stayed pretty close.
Yeah, but I thought, oh man, he's going to get it. He did a good job in the challenge where he threw the ball up high.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought he'd probably get this, but nope. Yes, it was a lot harder than it looked.
Yeah, so we ended up with everyone trying for it. So everyone eventually, even Kenzie and Liz, who had a really difficult time, ended up being able to take some throws. Liz even looked like she was going to get it. She had it on off with her first throw.
Yeah.
That would have been quite the...
I was cheering for her.
Surprise. Yeah, me too.
I thought, hey, win it yourself and she'll be thrilled.
Q lands it and wins the big Applebee's reward, which Probst told them would be an overnight at the sanctuary, so they get some sleep comfort in addition to getting food and some time away from everyone. So he's going to end up choosing 3 people to go with him. What did you think of the choices?
I wasn't really surprised at all.
No, I was surprised when he picked Tiff first and gave his I'm going to make it right speech.
No, I wasn't. I kind of thought that he was going to try to go back that way because he really didn't, other than Maria, he didn't have anywhere else to go. And I think he really wanted to join back up with Kenzie and Tiff. And, I don't know if he really wants to bring the others, but if he thinks Maria's his support now, that
that little bit of positivity she showed, checking in on him, see if he was okay after tribal council paid off, even though Liz was begging. I just figured he was going to give it to Liz, even though I remembered the next time on Survivor she was screaming about something. I should have connected those dots, but I often don't in the midst of just watching the episode.
Well,
I forget
Kenzie
everything.
had tears in her eyes too. She wasn't, saying much, but yeah, I think everybody was a little surprised, but
He even teased Liz a little bit, right? He spoke to her when he's making that third choice and said, yeah, she definitely, she's having a hard time. She hadn't had anything, but I'm really all about bringing the family back together. So I'm choosing Kenzie for the third one.
in other words, this is better for me. Sorry.
Yeah.
And if you're there to win $1 million, that's the right call. I don't know if I can do it, but then I'm not playing, so.
What did you think about the outburst from Liz? How did that resonate with you?
That was intense.
Yeah.
She obviously needed that very much. But, part of me was like, again, you knew this and what was going to be available when you took this on. You had no idea how bad it would be, or you wouldn't have done it, I'm sure.
Right.
And that she was just ready to blow, and she did.
And you can't always depend on the kindness of strangers because Stranger Q had a different agenda, and it didn't involve Liz, and he really didn't have any qualms about that. I liked how he managed it. He's right, it seemed cold, but
it was cold.
He was true to his game.
Exactly. You're there. And I think in moments like that, if you're really there for you and your family, then you really do have to stay focused on that because your family comes first, in my opinion.
Yeah. And who voted for him last tribal? Liz.
True. So, sorry.
She made that
you're
really
nothing,
simple.
and I know you're not going to work with me, so, and that you're after me. Why would I reward you?
I love that he said that too. But Liz, you voted for me.
Exactly. Maria came and asked me if I was okay.
Right.
You voted for me. So.
Well, she declares she's over it. Back to her regular scheduled program.
She was not over it. She just was over that part of it, but she didn't forgive it all.
Did you notice that at one point Venus went to comfort her?
Yes.
She moved like she was going to, and then Liz escalated even more and kept ranting, and Venus quickly backtracked. She got back in her place. She's like, yeah, no, I'm not getting in this.
She did hug her when they went back to camp.
She meant to offer some solace.
Well, she was going to, but she was in the middle of a tirade, and she wasn't open to being, touched at that moment. Don't try to shut me down. I'm in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well, and
got to get it out.
Like she said, she was just headed back to camp to sit with all her ugly feelings. So definitely a bad day. Okay, back to camp. Liz thanks them for letting her spew and vent.
Oh no! But before they went back to camp, what did the thing that started the tirade? We didn't talk about that. What started it all was Jeff saying to Liz, "Can you explain how you're feeling right now?"
I don't know that started the tirade.
Yes, it did. She completely lost it when Jeff said that.
Okay.
That's when she started screaming and said everything she wanted, is after Jeff asked her that.
Okay.
So, that was partly on Probst that he gave her the opportunity to vent. So, and I'm sure he loved it. So
Venus tried to help her a little bit. She said we all wanted to scream at Q.
Yeah.
I don't think I had no sympathy for her. I'm sure there's going to be an outpouring for poor Liz, but I didn't. And she's what kind of person does that? He had this chance to give this to me and he didn't. Well, he doesn't owe you anything to begin with.
Yeah. And you were trying to vote him out and cost him $1 million. Not that I think he would win, but.
Ben declares that Q is a villain and that he's working from the bottom.
Yeah. All right. Reward. They're at the sanctuary.
Where good things happen.
Loving the food and the drinks.
Yeah. Big shark bowl cocktail.
Though it didn't take them long to start talking about Liz and how hard that was. And
Yeah, Q said he's dealt with people having issues like that with what he's told them before. So he did seem to have that down.
yeah, and then they went right into talking about joining the old Yanu with the old Siga.
Mm-hmm.
So down to business. That's why he brought Maria along as well.
Right.
He knew what he was doing. As much as I hate to give him credit for it, he knew what he was doing and why he was choosing him.
Sure.
Though Kenzie wasn't having any of it.
Right.
It takes more than this to woo me. Well, you think I'm going to forgive you while we break bread?
Well, let's talk about the most ironic point of the whole thing.
Which was?
Nobody could eat the burger that Liz was dying to have.
Yeah.
That was probably like opening the wound again tonight, watching that.
Well, I guarantee you if they had brought that burger out first, they would have eaten.
Right, right.
I would bet money on it. And I don't bet money, but I think it's a sure thing. But, yeah, part of that was they were already stuffed.
And what Kenzie said, that definitely has an impact. When you haven't eaten very much for a long amount of time, your stomach does get smaller in terms of what it can process.
Yes, and they, a lot of times they get sick anyway. Their body just goes, no, what are you doing?
They don't actually get the benefit of it.
Work me into that.
Yeah.
Don't starve me to death and then...
Cut back to the NuiNui camp. Liz is attempting to start a fire for some reason, but she fails.
Well, she's still in her feelings.
Definitely, yeah. She ends up crying again. And she tells a story about food insecurity when she was growing up and why that day was so significant when they went to Applebee's with her daughter. So a little more background on that.
And then back over to the sanctuary where the women lay down.
Q did too initially, and then they had been laying for a while, and he said, no, I'm got to get up and walk some of this off.
I was surprised that they could lay down after eating that much food.
I bet they wanted to go to sleep.
Well, yeah, but
a food coma.
Laying down before your body has a chance to digest that is rough.
It can go bad, sure.
So
Kenzie and Tiffany are pretty clear. They are not buying it, not buying any of Q's plans. But Maria's just listening, biding her time. The minute he steps away, she said, they turn on him.
Yep.
And even she acknowledges that, well, it may be, it might have to be him.
It may be time to let him go.
There's no point in fighting it if it's overwhelming.
To use him, though.
Yeah. Okay, cut back. That's it. I thought they were going to get letters from home or a video from home or something. Because that has happened before when they go to the sanctuary on one of those big rewards.
Well, it wasn't this trip.
Yeah, so we didn't, it may have. We just didn't get any of it. So cut to sunrise, day 19. We see Liz and Charlie and Ben all out sitting on the beach, and the reward challenge winners return and start regaling them with stories of the food that they got.
I wouldn't have wanted that kind of detail. Yeah, that was Liz. Shut up. Read the room, people.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear all that.
Well, some of the other people did, though. So.
Yeah, they did.
And Tiffany even made a point of saying, I didn't even touch the burger. That seemed a little cruel on her part.
Yeah, I thought so. Don't bring it up.
And what Liz said, no one did at that point, so I guess she knew then, too. She was mocking all of them, too.
Yeah, and he wasn't having her apology at all. He didn't. He wasn't into it. Don't care.
Excellent response. He told her, hey, you're allowed to feel your emotions.
That's right.
And then to us in the confessional, I'm not concerned with what Liz thinks.
I don't care about the apology.
Yeah.
Now, Maria immediately tells Charlie when they get together that the girls want Q out and Q wants Venus and then Liz. And everyone's saying Q.
Yeah, it seems.
And yet they want Tiffany out.
Seems most likely that is going to come to fruition at this point.
Yeah. I didn't think for a second that Maria would forget that Tiffany was after her at one point.
Mm-hmm.
She is playing with people that she doesn't trust and
Sure.
trying not to let them know it. So I guess she did a pretty good job.
Yeah, she's doing good at Classic Survivor. You can trust no one, but you got to trust someone
Yep.
to get further each step in the game.
Time for the immunity challenge. They got to hold that bucket up. Well,
Yeah. Flashback to Gabler's incredible run on this challenge.
I don't know what their final time was, but I don't think it was anywhere near that.
Oh, they were getting close. They were in the 20s.
Were they?
Yeah. So it's a classic one where they've got to hold a bucket up, and the bucket weighs 25% of their pre-game body weight. And so there's a little hand crank, and the rope goes around that crank, and you just have to use the strength in your arms to hold it up there. Probst hits him with a rice negotiation. He was ready for the Stonewall thing this time,
Yes,
though, right?
Yes. They
Offered an individual.
They did that to give Liz some food, basically.
Yeah. And
But you got to sit out.
Right, yeah. So no shot at immunity. Nobody's targeting her, so that's an easy choice for her. I like that Kenzie stepped back after she had initially stepped out.
Yep.
She's like, no, if nobody else is coming, you go ahead. You get your individual rice. That felt like they were doing that to try to make sure she didn't quit.
Yeah, or that there was
After that outburst.
They might have started to worry about her too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that she has to get some calories, period.
Yeah. That was
So,
a pity
but
thing.
they did make it her choice. If you play, you don't get the rice. But if you sit out and you take the risk, then we'll give you the rice. So I liked that they did that. I really did.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think she needs something.
Yep. Okay, so she's got her little individual portion of rice. Let's see how long that lasts her.
All
Venus
right.
almost immediately drops out.
Yes.
She
And-
didn't last. I don't think she lasted a minute. I didn't time it.
And then Ben wasn't far behind her.
Yeah.
He hasn't done really well in any of the challenges, has he?
That's the impression that I have, is that he has nothing to offer.
Well, he started by saying, "It's going. I can't stop it." And he was right.
Maria was the only one I saw trying the over-under grip, trying to switch it up.
Well, it was right after that Jeff said it had been 6 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabler lasted 38 minutes. So,
Which I'm sure felt completely out of reach.
and Venus was sitting over there trying to manifest Q dropping it.
Oh. I remembered that as a jinx. I guess manifest is the new term for that.
Manifest him dropping.
Mm-hmm.
And
And it
let's
worked.
see. Yeah,
Venus is
Q was
incredibly
out.
powerful.
Q went out next, and then Kenzie and Maria.
Yeah.
And then it was just down to Charlie versus Tiffany.
I did not think he was going to win. She hadn't moved the whole time.
I told you that she looked solid, but the fact that she hadn't moved, the muscles will only hold that way for so long, and then they just give. That's why when people are skiing and their legs start to shake and get weak, I've said over and over, never take another run.
Right.
Don't do it.
Don't have it in you that
Because
day.
if you're trying to turn and your muscles are just gone, then you could be in trouble. But they just won't function. And I had a feeling that could happen to her. And
So that was at 21 minutes. Probst gave that update.
Oh,
They
okay.
had made it through 21 minutes.
yeah, and that was awesome for both of them to do that. But of course, I wanted her to drop because we had her going home.
Yeah, so she was super static, but Charlie was doing lots of adjustments, even going one-handed at times.
Well, that's what I mean. He kept, doing different things, whereas she had just stayed solid.
Stoic, her face, no expression.
Well, that was good, except
Charlie.
when
Charlie gave her a tongue wag, and then she popped
winked
a
at
huge
him.
wink. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I
like
liked it.
comical the way she did that. Yeah, I enjoyed that too.
That was good. She broke just quick enough to do that.
And somehow that gave Charlie extra power, it seemed like.
know what
he
I
surged
loved?
back up.
Is him telling us that he knew he would need grip strength playing Survivor, and that he'd been working on
2
his
years.
grip 2 years. That is awesome.
Phenomenal.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, that
Way
puts
to
him
go,
in
Charlie.
puts him in a whole different class, whole different level for sure.
Yeah, I'm good if Charlie wins. It's like, yes, play the game. You betcha.
Okay, get back to camp after the challenge. Tiffany tells us she is peeved that Charlie won because she wanted to beat Q in the challenge and then vote him out like a 1-2 punch. Send him home. Oh well.
And she said she had not heard anyone say another name but Q's for the vote off. So tonight she was going to keep her idol, and because she's sure it's Q.
Famous last
thought,
words.
yes, but if it was your name, you wouldn't hear it. If you're the other name, you're not going to hear that.
So second Liz fire reference, Tiffany goes to make fire for Liz to cook so Liz can cook some of the rice that she just got for sitting out. And so just keep that in mind, depending on how far Liz lasts. She does not appear to have any ability when it comes to using the magnesium fire starter.
All right, will do. Now, Kenzie has cold feet.
With regards to voting out Tiffany, she's not
Yeah.
feeling that urge as much.
Yeah, and
This is when we get the title from Maria.
well, her explanation for it mostly was that Tiffany really wants to be there playing the game, and Kenzie said Q really doesn't care.
Right.
So why wouldn't I vote him out instead of Tiffany and let her play? Because she might vote you out, is what you said before. But then we see Maria approaching Q and asking if he would vote Tiffany.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he said he was wanting to bring the family back together, but he didn't seem to hesitate, going, Yep, yes, I will.
Didn't miss a beat on that, did he? He's on board.
Yep.
So Maria takes it to Ben. See what he thinks about taking Tiff out.
And he agrees. So
Yep.
they got 4 votes.
Q's a schemer, he says, but an idol is way more dangerous.
So Maria wants more people to go with them.
Well, she needs one more.
She needs
the
one
5.
more. Yeah, yeah. And Charlie wanted Liz, but Maria didn't trust her. She'd rather go with Venus.
Well, I didn't read it that way. I thought everybody said no on Venus. You just can't count on her at all.
Well, I thought it was her, and she didn't trust Liz.
They definitely had some hesitation with Liz too, but they kind of circled back, given their options were very limited. So between Liz and Venus, they opted to take it to Liz, and that's what Maria does next.
Yeah, and it was Maria that went to her, so I guess she felt like she was the better one to talk to her than the guys. So, and
What'd you think of her pitch?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
But,
one chance to get Tiffany.
That's right.
You're the key holder.
That's
Gave
right.
it all to Liz.
Yep. It's your move. You're gonna be the one.
I liked that aspect of it.
But she was seeing in her mind visions of Hugh's torch being snuffed out by Jeff, and that was sweeter than any burger she could eat. So
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if she would do it.
I wasn't either. Yeah, they set that up really well.
But she'd done that. She had done things before, voted for people. I felt like she didn't want to, but she went along because it made sense. It was a better move.
Yeah, it did sound like she was leaning more towards it. With the intense dislike for Q and the vendetta that she had after Q. And she was
Well,
trying to weigh that against Tiff's idol. And
That was in part editing because they wanted us not to know
Sure.
what she was going to do. So,
well, I doubt if
They
she knew
always
really
kinda-
what she was going to
Well,
do
she
because it's such
may
an
not have.
emotional roller coaster with her.
yeah, and if anything had triggered her at Tribal, it could have gone a different way. But
Yeah, clearly the idol is a bigger threat, and that really should be what you'd want to target.
Yep.
But her emotional approach to the game has dictated different moves previously. Okay, Tribal Council night 19. Hunter's smiling as they came in, and Kenzie burns her hair. How did her hair get burned?
I didn't see.
Okay.
I thought
Out of
maybe
all the
somebody's
times-
torch touched it or something.
Yeah, out of all
or
the-
maybe her own.
Yeah. Of all the times that could have happened for it to happen here.
Yeah.
And for her, a hairdresser, salon owner, to have her hair burned.
Well, then she can fix her burned hair.
Yeah.
Okay, Probst did not hesitate to tell that everyone on the jury is a massive blindside. And
Well, he
Q
backtracked that a little later.
He did later, but he said in Q's been the smoke screen.
Yeah, everyone's glommed onto
I
that
thought-
phrase.
Well, yeah, with the last two, but
Yeah.
you're right. He kind of retracted.
Walked it back.
Yeah. Okay.
Q responds with, "Hey, over these last 3 days, I'm just calm. I've got no power."
Yeah, that was a good response. And Tiffany, they sold it well to her because she was like, Q knows it's him today.
He's just been
It's
peaceful.
just what it is.
Or it's been peaceful with him
Yeah.
knowing that he was going.
And Kenzie's like, everybody's on the same page.
Yep. Eerily familiar, but today is really different. That was the phrase they were all delivering.
Yep. And even Ben chimed in, yeah, everybody's okay with Q tonight. And Charlie said, no, I just think the tribe was calm because everybody was on the same page.
Hey, we went past that one part where Q and Liz were talking to each other, and Q got asked about the reward and not picking Liz and how that played out. And he said that he knew that she felt left out, and he understood that was fair. And Liz said, well, I apologized, but you and I can't play together. So she was effectively taking back her apology,
Yeah.
right? I mean, your apology doesn't mean much when you
I skipped over that for a reason.
take that direction. Okay.
Okay. But,
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Almost eerie. Scary today, Charlie says. Calm because people are all on the same page. Yeah, they had that down. They delivered that really well.
Oh, yeah. And
What we get in the edit, at least.
Maria said, a blindside is huge,
Tricky.
but it's not what's happening tonight.
Yeah, that was great.
Yep. And Tiffany was, I don't think anybody here thinks that Q is good for their game.
Yeah, keeping Q
That's
can't be
it.
better.
That's why she didn't play her idol, is she bought the whole thing.
Yes,
Hook, line, and sinker.
completely suckered in.
And Q had said, if it's my time, I'm cool with it.
What was interesting about what he said a couple times was, I put out a plan, and maybe they'll do it, maybe they won't.
Oh, shut up.
I put out a plan.
Well, if he did, they didn't show us. I guess when he said yes to Maria and that he'd vote for Tiffany, that was his plan. Anyway, whatever.
Time to vote.
Time to vote. And then Tiffany did not play her idol.
And we saw no one hunting for idols. Doesn't mean that they didn't. Like we
No.
talked about in listener feedback last week, it was unsuccessful hunting potentially. And they've been known to do some flashbacks every now and again, so it could be. But based on some things to come, it hasn't happened yet.
All right, Jeff reads the votes. Up first, we got a big old Tiff, and she didn't pay any attention to that. She's like, yeah,
it came from Q.
Q voted for me.
Yeah.
And then he got some. She got the second one. Her whole face changed.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, 2. Who else voted? And before she knew it, there was 3, 4, and 5.
Tiffany is out. And Kenzie also got blindsided.
She could not shut her mouth.
Yeah.
It's like,
So Kenzie and Venus completely out of the loop on this vote. So not only did Maria orchestrate the takedown of Tiffany to get rid of her after she had come after Maria, or said she was going to at some point, but she totally snagged that away from Kenzie. Kenzie gets no claim to that now.
nope.
So it's like she got double credit in my eyes. Very nice. And I know 4 others worked with her to make that happen, but to really yoink it out from under Kenzie like that.
Well, now it's starting to look like old Sega's kind of a little more in charge of things
Yeah.
now.
7 left, yeah. 7s are always big episodes. So what did you think overall? Did you enjoy it?
I did very much.
The outburst weird thing with Liz, that was all kind of odd, but
yeah, and I understand it to a degree, but it's her own frustration and hunger. Hunger to do a lot to you if you've gone that many days without eating anything.
yeah.
Though a lot of people can fast I've never done more than 7 days, but that was, and I wouldn't have broken then, but I started to feel sick, so I had to break. But yeah, I wouldn't do that now, but I have done it. But for her to go that long and doing those difficult challenges,
Right.
That burns a lot of calories.
Yeah.
So that makes it extra tough. So I do understand that she's not 100% in control of her emotions. Of course, none of them are because they're all being deprived, but her more so than others because she can't eat what they can.
Not now. I mean, she's been given her little individual rice
Yes.
portion, so she could potentially make it through without quitting. I would be surprised at this point to find out that she didn't have some discussion with producers about quitting prior to that immunity challenge. Like that reward challenge and her outburst really wrecked her.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but
And the third individual immunity idol leaves in
that
someone's...
walked out the door.
Yeah, so we got a hat trick.
Yep.
Beautiful. Team Dum Dum wins again. Oh, yes.
Did you notice that Soda turned to Tevin and said that Tiff had an idol?
Yeah, yeah. So we both had Tiffany going, and I guess we were hopeful that we would get a third.
Yeah.
And
I just didn't think they were going to take you.
thanks to Maria and Charlie and their
Well,
plan.
Mostly, I thought it would be Tiffany because I thought Maria's not going to let that go. That Tiffany came after her and she still got that idol and she bluffed them the week before
Right.
and didn't play it. And she didn't want her going any further with that. Now, I didn't know if she was going to have enough people to pull it off.
Where do you think that leaves Q? Does he have a new agency?
He could.
I think he
definitely.
does. I think he does. Because of Maria and Charlie. They've enabled him.
Yes, and he just seems all high now, just like woohoo. Yeah, so.
And what does that mean for Kenzie?
And as long as he keeps voting the way Maria wants, that might be that.
Yeah. Where does this leave Kenzie?
I'd be a little worried about Kenzie.
Do you think that she could wrangle? Because she's got a Ben connection. Do you think she could get Ben and Liz and Venus?
Ben and Liz and Venus. That Kenzie could?
Right.
I don't
Could she
know.
rally them into an alliance?
I don't know, maybe. It depends on who Ben thinks he would do better going against. I can't see anybody giving him the money. So I don't think he has a chance, whoever
Well, okay.
he
Here's
goes with.
who
So,
wins this final three? Liz,
Okay.
Venus, Ben. Not
Wow.
Venus,
Boy, I would hate to vote.
and probably not Liz. I think Ben wins that one.
I don't know. I don't.
Okay,
I-
do this
I
one.
don't.
Ben, Q, Venus.
I say no that Liz would win. I think they'd give it to her before they give it to Ben and Venus because she hung in there. If she hangs in there with the lack of food and everything and toughed it out and all of that, I think they would respect that maybe. And
Okay, do the
can't
second
see.
one I gave you.
Okay, what did you give me?
Ben, Q, Venus.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah, that's harder, isn't it? That's the hardest one.
Yeah. Oh, they may not give it to Liz, though. I just remembered. She
She's a
bragged about
millionaire.
her money.
Yeah.
So Ben might get it with that
Yes.
because of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tevin's
Okay.
going to destroy her at a final council.
Yeah. Wow. Q. I can't see anybody giving him the money. So, and that was with Venus and Kenzie.
No. Kenzie wins hands down.
Okay.
And that, I said Ben, because you said you couldn't see Ben winning, so I wanted to see if I could
Oh.
come up with some where Ben might win. So
Q,
Ben, Q,
so-
Venus.
Yeah.
Again, you discount Venus. No. Is there
Well,
some
you
kind of
never
comeback
know.
story with Q?
I don't think so.
Venus is going to make a claim. She is the karma king
I would
at
be
this
surprised to see any of those three in there. Anyway.
point. Yeah, I'm not saying it's likely. I just wanted to run with your idea.
Yeah, my idea is like, boy, I wouldn't have to want to vote for that one. Those combinations.
Next time on Survivor?
Now, I could see
Oh.
Maria, Charlie or Kenzie winning with the right group. Now, if it's all three of them there, but if it's Ben, Charlie, and Maria, I don't think Ben has a prayer. He gets no votes.
And it's hard to differentiate Maria and Charlie a little bit.
Yeah, that would be tougher.
Charlie's going to have some of the physical things. The individual immunity wins.
On how well they present themselves at the final tribal and the relationships they made that people remember, and who's on there. Or who's on the jury and who they felt closer to.
Given what we've been shown, they might think Maria's a little harder to connect with.
Yeah, well, they all think Charlie's sweet, so I'd probably put my money on him.
He's on a winning streak with individual immunities right now. That's going to look good.
So, and I would be good with that.
Speaking of Charlie, next time on Survivor, he's idle hunting. And
so is everyone else, it appears. Ben and Q. But that's where I saw where Ben just was looking so thin.
Yeah, gaunt.
Kenzie to Charlie, she's saying, well, we're screwed. And then everyone's lying, and then she makes this goat noise. That's what it sounded like to me. I know she was trying to...
Like a final three goat?
But it came out as a goat.
Yeah.
So what?
Like a final three goat or like a literal goat?
No, just a literal goat.
Yeah, but it could be in reference to a final three.
Maybe not. And Venus is upset with Maria. She went from being a hero to being a villain real quick. Because she didn't include her in the vote, imagine.
Right.
Yep.
That's exactly what's going on with that.
Venus is after her. I don't know Venus and who else, but maybe Kenzie. But.
And what was Charlie saying? We all know it needs to be done. We all know
it needs to be done. That could mean anything.
Liz is telling us that another guy is a jerk. He's a jerk. Imagine that.
Well,
common refrain with Liz.
I would imagine she's talking about Q, but.
And then we cut to Q. I don't feel guilty at all, he says. And then he gives us a little laugh run. Yick, 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 yick.
Yep.
Good stuff.
Chuckle it up. Could be your time to go. You never know.
This doesn't seem like it's going to happen. It's like he's Teflon
they don't
Q.
need him if they got Liz. They can drag her along.
Perhaps.
They could get rid of Q, and then they'd only have Venus and Kenzie to go.
Yeah.
So,
How about a JSFL update?
I could do that. Hatter is still in first with 47 points. 35 people lost their USB.
That's a tough one.
Yep. 128 people lost a safe point.
Playing bold, but trying to do safe point management is my guess.
And there's 34 of us who earned a vote-off point. For the side challengers, Brandon is still in first place with 43. Robert with 42. With 41, Jeremiah and Stacy. 40, there's Drew and Lisa Ray. With 39, Justin and Rebecca. With 38, Parker. And 37, Chris is still in the basement.
All right. Well, an interesting week. We look forward to hearing what you thought of all these events. What did you make of Liz's outburst? Is that little jar of rice going to be enough so that she'll continue in the game and gain back some of her emotional control, whatever that is? I think she still is more than happy to vote Q out. I don't think any rice is going to fix that.
Anytime.
Yeah. If you'd like to join us for that next listener feedback show, you can call and leave a voicemail, 206-350-1547, or toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your audio and attach it to an email, or write an email, and either Joanne or I will read it into the show on your behalf. That email address, joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in a 3-minute range so that we can get everybody in there. We've been having just incredible listener feedback shows, up into the 20s again. Lots of people sharing their thoughts, and we look forward to hearing that from you this week. The voicemail line makes it really easy to get involved. Likewise with email. Some people do their own audio. That takes a little more skill, but even that's not too bad. And it's okay if you make mistakes. There's some people who seemed to get flustered when they were calling into voicemail. And don't worry about any of that. If you need to start over, start over. I got you. I can edit that. That's just like really quick. And if you lose your train of thought, then when you're recording, then just pause, get it back. I've got something that automatically deletes long pauses because we do that too. We use it strategically all the time.
So we don't go,
Yeah. Well, there's filler words and then
Of course, we
there's
still do that some.
there's things that come up. You have difficulty. Somebody comes in the room making noise or something like that, or you realize you've been rattling your phone, handling your phone, whatever you're using to record with, all that. You may need to pause. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. I'll get it straight, and I'll cut out all the ums and ahs and all that, so you'll sound snappy when you send it in.
You don't make us sound snappy.
That's a much bigger task.
challenge.
Yes, I prioritize the listeners, the Survivor fans, over us in that regard. So here's some starter questions for you. I throw out the same ones every week, but it might get the juices flowing with some thoughts. How did your assessment of the castaways change after this week's gameplay? Do you think Q's got agency in the game now? That would be an interesting one to dig into. You're not supposed to answer these. Who impressed you the most? Who do you think's playing the best, and who's in jeopardy being voted out next? We all love to hear that. Those of us playing in the fantasy league, you give us some ideas for how to structure our votes, and it gets really hard managing save points at this point in the season. Yeah, good stuff. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Have a good one.